Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 8th day of February 2020. Well, I've done this whole thing. I was just getting ready to close out, and realistically, I just should be like doing the end of it and hooking it together. But I'm not going to. I'm just going to go ahead and talk about this stuff all over again. I'm not going to take different cards though, or different runes. I think that this is kind of a significant reading for today. Um, but just before we get into that, there's going to be a rune divination that's going to go up on Medium. Also, the esoteric influences are up. And I also have the video up on the side panel of the blog. If you are a Patreon subscriber, then you get both the video and the magical, well, the esoteric influences plus the magical correspondences. It's a little more expanded over on Patreon. Not a lot, but I mean the video's not, but the actual write-up is. And so that's ready over there if you're a Patreon member, and if you're not, it's only $1 a month to subscribe. And so I'd love you if you did that. And let's see. The magical forecast will go up, of course, for today. Which is a blend of astrology and different witchcraft correspondences that are basically astrology based, essentially. Some of it isn't, most of it is though. And so you can take a look at that over on the blog over at Stepping Aside if you want to do that. But other than that, let's go ahead and get started here. Ansu's is the rune for today. We're talking Odin's rune, or spirit eloquence, if I can just say the words. Not very eloquent of me. But it's communication that is spirit-based instead of ego-based. And so, you don't judge, you're kind and all of that. So we have an 8 energy for the day. So, you're looking there at I mean, it depends on how you want to see this. You can see the 8 as materialism and leadership and acquisition and recognition and all that. But the thing is, it's also the spiritual warrior within. And so I think that for today, we're really looking, I think it tends to blend Tiwaz, the rune Tiwaz, which is the spiritual warrior. It blends really well with Odin's rune Ansu's. Puella is the geomancy rune for today, and we're talking scattered little girl energy. So you're going to want to keep your awareness a little bit loose, and so you can kind of pay attention to a lot of stuff at once. It's not a negative. It's not like a lack of impulse control like its complement poor is. That's little boy energy. This is just, you're looking at everything and you're interested in everything. So, and it's kind of an interesting thing when Mercury's in retrograde, because everything loosens up there too. And it gives you a chance to start double checking things and being sure and reevaluating and rethinking everything. And so, I think this is a good time to do that. And I think that this reading reflects all of that. The cards do. Reflecting on things in terms of where you place your perspective. Are you too focused on one kind of thought pattern and you can't see anything else? Puella is telling you to loosen that a little bit. Same with Mercury retrograde. Ansu's is kind of guiding you in the direction it needs to go. All right. So here we have, I ended up taking 4 cards, but we're going to start with the first 3. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read them I reordered them a little bit. And so I'm just going to read them in the order that I have them. But we started with the King of Pentacles. Another king who turns his back to the kingdom, admiring his wealth. You can see the grapes down below there. He's got a lot of power, got a lot of authority. We see the ram's heads above there on his throne. But once again, he's looking down at his pentacle, at his coin, at his wealth, all the abundance around him. He's got his back turned to the kingdom. So the king is a bit self-centered in that regard. It's not that he can't extend himself to others. It's just you never see him do that in the cards. And so no reason to think that that's what he's doing here. So next then we come to the 6 of Swords. Swords is the air element. And this is a trip over water, or a journey over water. You see the family there. We'll assume it's a family. With mom and the child huddled against the elements there. You can see there's snow. in the background here. The water is frigid and icy. But they're headed off in a new direction, aren't they? And since it's swords, and that's the air element, we know that's communication and intellect and reason and balance and justice and all of that, but it's perception. So with a shift in perceptions, they are moving in another direction. And it might be challenging, but that's okay. Because they're trusting the process and they know where they're going. And where they're going is going to ultimately result in victory and success and the light returning. So with that concept of the light returning with the sun here, we see the white horse, that's purity. The nude child is purity. The pennant is reddish orange, dark reddish orange, and so you're looking again at the fire element and vitality and courage and passion and but the sun is shining, its rays are going everywhere, so you've got full clarity there. You see the vitality of the sunflowers sitting above the wall, the strength of that. The strength of awakening, likely caused by the choice to move in a different direction, predicated by perhaps a situation where your needs were not being taken care of. Either by a misuse of your own power or by the power of somebody else who's thought only of himself, and there's nothing left for the kingdom. So there's nothing left for anybody that he's supposed to be in charge of or taking care of. And so these folks, perhaps you had a boss that was just not, he was more focused on his own self and not on the company. Or, he's reaping all the benefits of the company and the people that work for him really aren't getting anything. And so maybe you had, some kind of allegiance to this guy and you realized, this is not working out and I may have, and what's the reason for that? I took a fourth card and it said he can't work his craft. He can't work his trade. Not with this guy in the way, because it's all for him and not for his family. And so here you see a man who's working his trade and two women come by. They're commenting on what he's doing. That's part of the 3 here. They're interacting with him and they're saying, that looks good. Maybe we might want to hire this guy. Or maybe as they're talking to him and they find out, well, what all do you do? And, what kind of stuff do you do? Maybe then they go and they share that information with other people. 3 is about communication. And so somewhere along the line, with Mercury in retrograde, he started thinking maybe that this is working for this guy isn't working out for me. Or my allegiance to this guy is not working out for me. He's got me going in a direction that's not helpful for me. So, we rethink about it, we rethink it, and this is what it should be happening. And so he says, in order for me to make my way in life, to support my family, we have to go in a new direction. So to do that, I have to have a change in perception, don't I? I got to rethink. Whatever my allegiance was to this guy in power, it has not served me well. It's not served me in my career. It's not served me in my interactions with other people. And so now I have to think differently. I have to see this guy for who and what he is. And I have to move my family into a better place, no matter how difficult it might be. The only way we survive is to let go of the perceptions that no longer serve. And it's clear now they only served this guy. And when we do that, when we move together in harmony with other people, we shift our perceptions toward that, we have a much better outcome. Here we have the 19th card of the Major Arcana. It's a 1 energy. So you're talking new beginnings, wholeness, unity. The sun coming up is a new day, basically. But this new day is based on strength and courage and vitality and healing and wellness. So if you want to look at this in terms of the effect of the virus on the country and on people's lives, You can look at this in terms of a rejection of the old paradigm of the last administration, basically. Understanding that it basically interfered with our ability to make a living and to stay well. So we shifted our perception away from whatever falsehoods that guy was promoting, whatever belief structure that guy was promoting that was not keeping us healthy, wasn't keeping us employed, wasn't keeping us well. And we're going to shift our perception and move in a different direction, in protection of the family, in protection of self, in protection of others, toward a new day. My husband and I were talking about this. We've been having this ongoing conversation for the past few days. It's just like, this never ends. And it doesn't end because we never came together to begin with about it. We were lied to. The whole country was lied to. While he tells, Bob Woodward one thing, the next day he's out saying, oh yeah, no big deal. It's just like the flu. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It'll all go away. Well, we know now that was garbage. And we know now that instead of helping, healthcare workers and stuff stay well and stay protected, he didn't do that either. He sold it off to other people is what he did. The vaccines that they said, oh yeah, we're sending out, the second round. There weren't any vaccines to send out, so they lied. At some point, these people involved in all this are going to have to be held to account to that, because that literally killed people, because we couldn't get on the same page, because the last administration would not insist that everybody wear masks. And why? All he had to do was do that. And can you imagine the number of people that would be alive today had he done that? So right now, I think that what this is saying is we have to let go of the last old paradigm and move into some kind of new perception about things if we are to survive this. Because it just seems like we're never going to get out of the masks. We're never going to be able to not, at the rate we're going. And I know that that's not true. I know that eventually this is going to settle down, but with the new variants coming, and they're here in this country now, it's just complicated things. And had we been able to get ahead of this and, everybody in masks and giving the virus no place to transmit, then we could have snuffed a lot of this out, and then our hospitals would not be so overwhelmed. Our healthcare workers wouldn't be so tired and used up, basically. It's we all want to get back to normal, whatever that's going to be. But I think that is not going to happen if we don't get on the same page about it all. And again, that could have happened, but it didn't. And now things are so complicated that you have people that still believe that you don't want to wear masks, that's an impingement on freedom. No. It's to help people stay alive. And if it means you wear a mask to do it, then just do it, But you see, there are people that don't believe that. And they believe what this guy before said. And unfortunately, it's put them and everyone around them in a risky place. Again, the themes of these cards seem to really be about shifting perception to a more shared path, a more shared vision. It doesn't mean we all have to agree about everything all the time, but when there is a pandemic sweeping the country, we kind of all need to be on the same page about that, and not run around with no masks and no protection and all of that. That was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And we hunkered down on February 2nd of last year. So we've been doing this every so often with masks on, and now face shields. Now it's double masks and face shield, but we've been doing that now for over a year. And we haven't seen our children, we haven't seen our grandchildren, and because we don't want to risk anything, and neither do they, and we would never ask them to, right? The world wants to get back to normal, but the world can't yet. And maybe some areas they're doing a whole lot better and they can do more things, and that's terrific. We should have learned that lesson. So we have to ask ourselves, and maybe during this time of Mercury retrograde, why don't we do that? If you're struggling with this whole thing, look within, figure out why. Why do you need to believe someone who's only concerned about himself? No matter what he says to you, it's all he's concerned about. Why would you then hitch your wagon to that star? Why would you do that? So you need to be thinking, use this time, this loosening time, to allow other little thoughts to come in and examine. Why did I put my whole, support behind one guy that clearly doesn't know what he's doing and just wanted to use this to benefit him, I guess. I don't know. Time's going to tell, though. We're going to find out. So why don't we just get on that path together now instead of later? I don't know. To me, I think that it's our path toward healing if we do. And I think that the cards have been saying it. They've been saying it for weeks now. We need to be on a new shared path if we expect to survive all of this. It's just simple. So use this time to rethink things, to reassess, reevaluate, and see if you can head off in a different direction. So anyway, let's get together on Thursday, and I'll write all this down, and so we can think back about it and see how it applies to Thursday's reading. If it doesn't, then maybe it indicates indeed we are heading into something else. So anyhow, thanks so much for watching. And again, if you go out and about today around anyone at all, have a mask on over your nose and your mouth both. 2, maybe, if you want to. I think especially if you live in a really urban area, I don't know, there's a lot of density. I think I'd double up. We are, and like I said, we're doing a face shield as well. So 3 things: 2 masks and a face shield. And be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.